right? Does that make sense, guys?
No,
like,
I've heard that before. What is known there? Because the commissioner of the Mountain West in town this week. The word, and Derek, hearing your conversations and the audio, and you sat down with John Sullivan, as you mentioned, the word she used that hit hard was a 3-letter word called fit. And she talked about the fit of North Dakota State and the Mountain West, and the fit in this. And then, $17.5 million, the 5 going to the NCAA. We all know the numbers, 12.5 to the Mountain West. And, I'm not going to be able to record some of those, the TV dollars and all that. And we're going to apply to try to get, so North Dakota State can get in the playoffs and drop that moratorium and all. We get all the parameters of that. But then I applied the word fit, her words, and tried to apply that to Sac State. Into the MAC, which was, 18 million? Like 16 more than Northern Illinois paid to go to the Mountain West. And then, so what is it that Sac just wanted to get into for what? For why? To your point, what do they know that we may not know? So anyway.
I don't know. That's something I can't figure out. So the time will tell if it's a success. Everything's a success.
Oh, and he referenced an Asia song at the same time. Only time will tell. Right? Thank you very much, 80s kid. Do we have?
Yeah, let's get Carnac. Kyle's been patiently waiting to talk to DJ. So,
hey guys, thanks for having me on. Just to chime in on Sac State here. I know it's similar to NDSU in terms of it's a 1AA hopping up to the bowl system, but at least NDSU is going to compete in the Mountain West. I mean, Sac State has won the Big Sky once in the past 25 years, and they didn't even play the Cats that season. So they're going to get throttled. And, I think Grizz coach Bobby Houck put it best earlier this season in a press conference when he referred to Mark Orr, the AD at Sac State, as a clown. That's exactly what he is. No one should take him seriously, and I wouldn't want him running a Dairy Queen, let alone the athletic department.
Well, yeah. I don't know why you're ripping, making it sound like it's easy to run a Dairy Queen. I mean,
yeah, be careful. I know the owners of that Moorhead Dairy Queen.
Exactly.
That's a great point. I mean, the president. You want to know what I think, you guys? I think it's the president's ego, the AD president, the combo of those two. That came out this last summer or a year ago and said, we're going no matter what it takes. So you just mortgaged your possible university's well-being? Where's this money coming from? Everything I've read, Sac State has a big TV, and if they were to get shares on that makes sense. But if they're not getting any of the TV revenue or any of the other stuff? What?
To underscore caller's point on just take from the success ratio, and I'll put this even in more perspective for you, Kyle. During their 33 years in the FCS, 2 playoff wins, both in the 2020s, and no semifinals since 1988 in Division II for Sacramento State. Just
D2.
Yeah. To underscore Kyle's point about at least these other programs, or whether you pick, I guess, NDSU or App State perhaps, or JMU, that certainly had levels of pretty good success to make that jump and compete, as opposed to, so if the argument is on so if you go down that argument, again, what does Sac State know that we don't know? So it's a good point, Kyle.
So can I throw something out at you guys? We're always talking about a TV and what everyone's seeing. Do you understand, though, that Tuesday night ESPN slot, their first time they get to host, the 7 o'clock Central game, it's 5 o'clock there.
That's correct.
How are people going to get off? And it's traffic. It's 30 to 60 minutes in the Sacramento area. It's not easy to always get around. People live out. I mean, are you going to be able to get, maybe it's just once a year that they'll host and it's not a big deal. They'll get the turnout they need. But I just think that's the one thing about this FBS move up, the whole NDSU deal of people understanding. Maybe with Northern Illinois, and they'll get a few 11 a.m. slots, but the rest of it, it's night games. Everything I watch over the years, I pay attention and watch those they're late games on Saturday night. But that whole deal at Sac State, who's going to make it to that 4 to 5 o'clock start on a Tuesday night?
It's when they get when they get involved in action, that is going to be really interesting. Once you get to later in the season with those Tuesday Wednesdays. But the one thing that really stood out, and you and I talked about this a little bit last week, is I hear it over and over again. It wasn't about TV markets. When it came down to the decision between Sac State and NDSU, it was the brand of NDSU football and what they've done for the FCS, and the fact that the national championship game now has become essentially the last Monday Night Football game the week after the NFL. I mean, that really says a lot there, that the TV thing doesn't come into play, considering that every conference, every move has been made essentially for TV.
Yes.
I mean,
that is driven
with
the
Rutgers
moves.
to the Big Ten, all that to get the New York market. That's pretty astonishing to me, yeah. DJ.
Yeah, you look at the TV situation of these markets like Sac State or Sacramento, and trying to make that work. And then here's my question to you guys. I mean, Sac State was on ESPN and ESPN2 the last few years in the Big Sky. I actually think they're going to have better ratings there. And even NDSU, like you just talked about, all the times NDSU's been on ESPN the last 15 years. This will be really interesting to see when you compare the ratings to these in-conference games. The playoff games are gone. Is the time you really had on TV better at the top FCS than lower FBS? That's my question to you guys.
I've been asking that for 5 years.
And the fluctuating times, that's a real thing. So Kyle, so your crystal ball. We call Kyle Carnac. So the crystal ball for Sac State. Play the story out, Kyle.
Oh, I mean, they'll be lucky to get 3 wins in the MAC. That's one of the most. I'd probably put it as the most competitive mid-major conference in the country, especially with how the Mountain West has kind of been decimated from the top now. I mean, the champion of the MAC typically has 3 to 4 losses. It's not because they have bad football. It's because, and they're in Ohio and the Rust Belt there where, I mean, they have D1 talent, to the gills in that area of the country. So, no, I don't think Sac State's even going to compete.
Great call.
But Kyle,
go ahead.
But Kyle, did you hear on the AD and president said all these kids in Sacramento Metro have left because Sac State wasn't an FBS program? Did you read that, you guys, this week? That's what they're talking about.
Now,
what's going to change now is recruiting. Now that they're an FBS program, overnight, all the kids in the Sacramento area are staying. That was their fight for that.
Yeah. Hey, DJ, I know you're from Montana, so I know you have some certain feelings about Californians. DJ, do you think California kids are going to want to go play football in Ohio every other weekend?
Oh, that's a great point. I mean, is this going to be enough for them? And where are they going to be on TV? The MAC doesn't have a great TV contract, guys.
Well, that's why they play on the weekdays.
That's why they're on Tuesday nights. You
got it. And that's why the Mountain West at least has some better. It might be late on Saturday night, but you can at least watch some of their teams play. You stay up if you're a football guy, and stay up Saturday night late and watch some late night football Saturday night. You can at least catch some of it. So, I mean, at least that side of it, you got a great point on. I don't know. This is so intriguing, you guys. I'm being tied to it, the Big Sky, and now be living in Fargo with NDSU. I'm excited to just pay attention and track. At least it keeps everything interesting, guys. Right?
In the article I read, school president Luke Wood from The Athletic claimed the MAC will deliver, quote, an estimated economic impact of $975 million and national broadcast value of $675 million over the next 5 years. And to your point, Kyle, go ahead.
If he's right, we got to give him all the credit.
Right.
You guys remember what we're talking about this, just like you guys around here when I first moved here in 3 and the move up to FBS, and now you guys go back to NDSU's former president and AD, and everyone gives them the credit they deserve, right? When they went to FCS. Right. Now you just got to go back in 10, 20 years of Sacramento State and NDSU, you got to give the credit to this leadership or the discredit.
That's you're right, and that's why everybody's going to have opinions on these. But truly is one of these things. Okay, that's why I keep responding, Derek. Give me 5 years, and I guess we'll revisit this and take a peek. The crystal ball in these ones, I think there's some gray. There's a lot of gray in that crystal ball because we just don't know landscapes in that. Kyle, thanks for the call. Great points, as always, brought up by Carnac. Kyle, I love Sacramento, by the way. I was just, before you came on, DJ, I always enjoyed calling games out there, and you're there for a couple of days on road trips. Big Sky. I'm a fan of the town, the community. Now, I don't know